In today's video, we're going to look at a match that I played a little bit earlier today, and it's going to showcase two things. One, you should never give up, even if you're in a horrible losing position. And two, the queen is really friggin' powerful, and there's a reason that it is the best piece in the game. Since I've hit 700 elo, I've been playing a lot of chess. I want to hit 800 now, and so I'm just trying to get reps in, trying to play games, trying to analyze and get better, noticing some of the mistakes that I'm making and stuff. So we're going to have a look here. We've got an e4 opening for my opponent, Venerolog. I'm not sure how to say his name at all. I decide to protect the d5 square with my knight. He brings his knight out, I bring my knight out, and now he pushes forward. And this isn't a great move. It's kind of a bad move. I shouldn't have done this. After his knight came out, should have moved d5, closed that position, then I can bring my knight out. But he pushes up, and I decide I'm just gonna move my knight over, keep him safe, still have a little bit of presence in the middle of the board. He brings his other pawn out. I do close this position. So I'm like, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing right now. We're gonna close the position with my e5 pawn. He decides to put some pressure on me. I bring my queen out, and this is a horrible losing position. Look at the evaluation bar, how it just absolutely tanks, and it's not gonna go up from here. I'm just gonna let you guys know right now, things do not get better after I move my queen over to d7. My thought was, he's gonna take no matter what, I'm gonna take. I could have probably moved back here. Let's actually see what the suggestion was for this position. It's looking like the sixth move, c6. It's looking like it should have been something like this to open the queen up over here. Potentially knight to a6. Knight to a6. Down here, something like that. Those could have been better moves. But I move the queen over and I'm in a horrible losing position. So he takes, I take back. What a great trade, a pawn for a knight. And now he puts pressure on me with his rook being covered by the knight, and I don't have a lot of positions to go. I can't go here, I can't take this pawn, I can't move here, can't move anywhere on this rank, can't move down here, can't move here. This is not a great spot. I'm actually gonna do a lot of dancing with my queen after putting myself in this horrible position. And I think this is a testament to don't bring your queen out too early. There's no reason to do it. There's a lot of angles that other pieces can kind of attack you from, and you end up playing this really brutal dance. So he decides to put some pressure on me again. I decide to block it with my bishop. He takes, I trade back. Not the worst trade in the world. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw the bishop here. If he wants to trade and just get rid of the dark square bishop right away, I'm totally fine with it. He brings his knight out, which is now pressuring the only pawn that I've got in the center of the board. I decide, instead of playing here, trying to protect this pawn, to counterattack the rook. He moves down, now pinning this pawn to my queen. And I move up, having a little bit of a fork. I'm obviously re-pinning the knight to the king and putting some pressure on this rook. He moves down, taking the free pawn, because obviously now the knight is actually going to be open if I do take, so that's not going to work for me. I now retreat where I probably should have initially just moved a pawn in the first place to protect from this. I think that would have made a lot more sense. Who knows what he would have done, what kind of pressure he would have put on me over here, but at the very least, I would still have a pawn on this, on b7. I would still be defending here, and I could kind of figure out what I want to do with the queen from there. After this, he's going to try to open some stuff up on the king side of the board. I'm putting some pressure back on him yet again. His queen comes in to defend, and I decide to castle. I'm like, okay, I do not like anything that I'm seeing on this side of the board. We're going to castle king side. That just seems to make sense. I think that it was just kind of a neutral move according to the evaluation bar. He's putting some pressure on this pawn now. I'm not really seeing the vision of anything that he wants to do. Like, this knight is kind of out of commission. He can go this direction and then over here, I guess. This is looking at like, what, maybe here? Then I can't take this, but I take with the pawn. I don't really know what this light square bishop's idea was. I now decide, okay, I'm gonna put some pressure here. The reason behind this, my thought process behind this is this. Right now, there are no immediate threats to checkmate me. If he takes, I get to take, and I now control this file completely with my rook, the last rook that I'm gonna have, but it seemed way better than just trying to figure something out. Obviously taking here was not a good idea, and I thought if he decides to like hold this here, whatever. I also thought I'm kind of baiting this so that when he sees this and takes because he thinks that he's going to be able to checkmate me, which he won't be able to, because if he takes, I take, he comes here for the checkmate, I can now move back with the queen or take with my king, right? So I'm covered on all fronts, but I was like, well, maybe he leaves this here and then I can take, or then I can take and still kind of put some pressure on the queen. Instead, he does this, which is a neutral move for him. It doesn't change the evaluation bar at all, but that does leave his queen hanging. I'm able to take that, ending up with a material advantage after all of the trades. And obviously I don't see the evaluation bar at this point when I'm playing the game, but I feel pretty good that now I have at least a bit of a material advantage after taking that rook. That is kind of a good thing, because after he takes this pawn with his knight, instead of taking my light squared bishop with this pawn that was completely hanging, he moves over here, and I look at this position, I'm like, okay, well, if he goes here or here, he's not putting a threat on anything that I care about. If he goes here, I can just move and like get out of the way. I'm probably losing this bishop, but the knight moving here is not that scary to me. I decide to move up. This is so dumb. I don't know why I decided to do this instead of moving my bishop. Even if I move my bishop down, I feel like that would be way better, because moving here, he takes, I can take, I guess, but even doing this, I'm putting pressure on the rook instead. He takes, I take. I think that's a way better position, right? I should have moved the bishop instead of the knight here. I do end up moving the knight. He takes with this knight. So I didn't even see that as a potential threat in the moment, but now both of his knights are beside each other, and this is gonna prove to be a little bit of a problem later in the match. I move over, which is going to give me a discovered check if I do end up moving my knight. He spots that and castles, which of course you would want to do that. That's a great position to do it. I take this knight, and what I could have done instead is move here to d2, putting pressure on his rook, forcing him somewhere over here. Even if he puts pressure on me here, well, now I can move back, putting pressure on this pawn. I can go back to where I was. There's like way better options in this position. I was kind of stuck on the idea of trading pieces, because right now these knights are doing a lot of heavy lifting with covering all of this back rank. Not a great position for me from what I could see. So I take one of the knights, he trades back. Now I'm thinking, okay, I've got a fork on this rook and this knight. If he decides to protect the knight, then I can take this pawn. If he decides to protect this pawn, I don't really have an idea. I saw it after I moved. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, putting some pressure on here. If he decides to protect it or protect this, I'll figure it out. If he did decide to protect here, I guess I could have put some pressure on it for d2, but overall, not great. You can see that in this position, before especially, when I had the knight here, not even this one, I have to go even further back to have any semblance of an advantage in this game. Okay, just kidding. I thought after I did the trade here, it really went not into my favor. You can see that when I move the queen, it's definitely not in my favor. It's a really bad position for me to be in. He decides to completely run away, which is interesting. The only thing he's threatening here now is this pawn. I decide to move the pawn up, making it so that he has to move it yet again. He moves down here again, not really putting any pressure or anything. Excuse me, he is being kind of backed up and protected by the bishop, but this does leave a pawn for me to take. After he moves over here, still not putting any pressure on anything noteworthy from what I can see, I take another pawn. He moves up here, putting pressure on this pawn. I decide to move up twice. I don't want to give this pawn a free take and move it over, even though if I did do that, if I had only moved to here, pawn takes, I take, I'm covering this position up here, and I'm putting the knight into kind of a bad spot. Knight has outs though, so I was like, it doesn't really make sense to give up a free pawn when I'm already down by a decent margin on all of my premium pieces. Move up twice. If he wants to take, then I take. That would be free. Now after he pushes this pawn up, it's completely in my advantage for the rest of the game. I believe for the rest of the game, I don't think I make any bad decisions or changes. So move 26 for white should have been D takes C6. So that would be D takes C6. Wait, what is this? Oh, I hit the wrong button. D takes C6. D. Oh, he could have, that's why I'm not a very smart chess player and neither is this guy. He could have en passanted this. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't see that. I didn't even know. That is actually wild to me that he should have done an en passant. Didn't even register in my dumb little brain, but that's pretty cool. Real-time big brain visualizations, okay? That's what he should have done. He could have also done rook to b1. Rook to b1 would have also been okay. So that is totally fine. We're okay with that. That would just be coming over here, threatening checkmate, right? If he does rook to b1 and I do anything other than move a pawn up, that's going to be threatening checkmate. He moves over here and now I've got some room to play, right? I am going to put him into check because he's opened up the king for no reason. I'm thinking this is working out for me. I'll put him into check. He moves up. I move this pawn up. So I could have taken, but I'm thinking I really need to, if this pawn moves up, it's no longer going to be threatened, so I don't have to keep my queen beside him anymore to keep him safe. B, I can still do this, I can still pressure, but I need to get a pawn as close to promoting as possible. He moves back down here, protecting this pawn, so I can't take it. I'm just going to march up one more time. He comes down here, threatening C2. He's threatening C2 twice, right? The rook and the bishop. Ooh, kind of scary. So I'm just going to move another pawn. This guy can move up twice. He's not going to be taken by the knight. He moves over here, putting a bit of a threat onto me. I'm not loving that. So now I can take, and I've got an actual legitimate fork now. I actually am able to get a legitimate fork on the knight or the bishop. He moves up, taking the most advanced pawn, but that gives me the light squared bishop. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm thinking, ooh, this is getting closer to winnable now. He moves his rook over, and thankfully I do spot that this would have been a checkmate, pushing my pawn up so that when he does push down, I just move up. I'm totally fine, totally safe. He moves his knight over here. I don't really see what the idea for this was. Like, he's only really protecting this and this and this, but my queen isn't like threatening those positions anyways. And it's not like he was in a position where I was going to threaten him. So I put him into check. He moves down. I put him into check again. He moves over to h3. And I put him into check with a fork on his rook and he resigns. This was, in my opinion, a pretty good game. Did I make all of the best moves? Obviously not, but I'm very happy with how I played the queen by itself, pushing the appropriate pieces to kind of make my opponent actually think about where he needed to be positioned. Overall, a game that I was really happy with. The results obviously taking the win in the end. So ladies and gentlemen, try to keep your queen alive as long as possible because you never know. Maybe your opponent makes a bunch of mistakes and you're able to secure the victory royale. This isn't Fortnite. That was stupid. I apologize. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. I upload a new chess video here every single day. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you just enjoyed watching an idiot like me play chess for a little bit, but either way, I'm very thankful that you decided to spend some time with me. Also, don't forget, you look great today. I really do appreciate you and your time. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.